Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today guys we are taking another cheeky look at VeChain, and specifically, is it too late to buy VET? So Chris, this is obviously an interesting video because obviously VeChain's been so undervalued for such a significant amount of time, and I still feel that it is undervalued for its potential, and we're going to go through some of that potential with you guys today in this video. So if you do find this video useful, informative, then do go ahead and smash that like button. Chris really appreciates it, I really appreciate it, and the whole cheeky crypto community really appreciates it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you're not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with all the various videos, live streams, and premieres that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all of that said, Chris, let's jump over to the desktop and go through first some of the fantastic things about VeChain, and then jump into the charts, and then we'll round it all up, Chris, with our final thoughts on whether we think there's still time to get into VeChain.
Yeah, let's do it, Nick. I love this project. It's my biggest bag, as everybody probably knows by now, because I keep banging on about it. But yeah, let's get into some of this juicy stuff, Nick. It is juicy as well. Let's do it.
It is. VeChain always brings a smile to Chris's face. It's a fantastic project. It's one of those things you can wake up in the morning and know that this one isn't going anywhere. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, Chris, is this fantastic piece of news from December, right? And this basically is VeChain becoming the first 5-star rated blockchain service provider in the world, okay? And basically certified by 𝗕𝗃, okay? For those who do not know, that is a big deal. It's very hard to get anything done in Germany if you are not 𝗕𝗃 rated, right? So this is the first 5-star rated blockchain in the world, and that means something. So in terms of onboarding new clients globally, as blockchain becomes more and more important across many different sectors, the first thing that you're going to look up is who's certified, who's at the top of the list, and basically that makes VeChain the top tech contender for many projects. So having a 𝗕𝗃 rating is an incredibly important thing globally, and it's not specifically just some of those underdeveloped countries like Africa, which obviously is very important, but for the more developed countries such as Europe, we have Germany, France, Italy, etc., right? They're going to be really responding well to that 𝗕𝗃 rating, as we are as well, Chris, being over in the UK. Even though we're no longer a part of Europe, 𝗕𝗃 rating is a big deal. Across the States, of course, it might be less familiar with it, but nonetheless, it's a very important thing when we start assessing different blockchains. So depending on what industry they might, businesses might be in, they're going to be familiar with the standard. So that's the first thing that's well worth just pointing out here, that VeChain are the only ones in the world that have this 5-star rating. So the next thing that we want to talk about is something we spoke about not that long ago, Chris, which is all about VeChain rolling out the Sync 2 to encourage a massive dApp adoption. Okay, this came out in January of 2021, and basically they're basically rolling out the Sync 2, which is an evolution of Sync 1, which basically is a revolutionary solution enabling dApp mass adoption. So basically is a real good way to encourage developers to come on board here. You start using some of the applications, things that they have available at VeChain to increase mass adoptions of dApps. So this is a really fantastic thing. It's also out there for the alpha test for developers, which is now open, and we're going to see some fantastic things happening with this moving further forward. So it's one of those things I just thought I'd bring up because obviously it's a very active community, and unfortunately there's a lot of FUD out there about VeChain that just isn't right. So we're seeing some fantastic things here, just from the community to developer side, and the mass adoption of dApps on the VeChain ecosystem. So the next thing, Chris, is all about basically VeChain becoming the AWS of public blockchains. Again, this is something that we spoke about not that long ago. This is relatively fresh news, Chris, February the 12th. And basically this is VeChain being compared to the Amazon of blockchains. And this comes down to the fact that they have a fantastic piece of kit called the VeChain toolchain. And the toolchain basically makes it very, very simple to onboard new clients into the ecosystem. It's very, very straightforward. It's a plug and play system. And it basically means you have no real barrier to entry here. The technical expertise is minimal at best. So, Amazon Web Services is obviously something that most people are familiar with, and VeChain is now being compared to that. So, well worth just checking this out. Again, we did a video on this not that long ago. Check that out if you want more detail. But it's well worth bringing it up in this particular video. Because this,
I was going to say, Nick, as well. The VeChain toolchain, it's like a kit basically. You've got your hardware, your software. It makes it so easy to onboard people. Like we should probably do a video on it separately to this, because I think it would be really good for people to be able to understand that. But yeah, it makes it so quick and easy to onboard partnerships. We've seen that with Walmart China, right? How quickly they were managing to roll that out. It was like within weeks rather than months or years.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll probably have to do that, Chris. Definitely do a whole video dedicated to toolchain. So it's just one of those things that you have to understand what's actually happening here with VeChain, and it's not a small thing by any stretch of the imagination. But the next thing, Chris, that's worth talking about is partnerships, right? And here's a bit of a list of partnerships. It's been relatively up to date, but it's still only a handful on this particular list, but nonetheless, we're going to call out a few of these really important ones. Obviously, just shooting down here, we have the big players such as PwC, okay, and they're a $37.7 billion revenue company. We can obviously see DIG. We have NRCC, which is obviously the National Research Consulting Center. We have the Renault, obviously automotive industry, $67 billion. We also have BMW as well. I'm sure they're in this list. BitOcean, you have DNVGL, $2.4 billion revenue, and they are a huge player. There's a lot going on there with DNVGL in enhancing that partnership and really pushing things further forward. Just shooting down here, Chris, because there's so many. Obviously, you have Walmart China, all those kind of guys going on as well. So very, very big stuff. And obviously, people often talk about, Chris, how can I put it? Like, it's a Chinese-centered company. And that simply isn't the truth, because if we move to this piece, we can see that VeChain partnered with a US firm to power a $102 billion seafood industry. Okay, so this is truly a global company, VeChain, based in Singapore, not China. They do a lot of work in China, obviously. They are quite close to China, but they also do work in places like Cyprus, Germany, the US, the UK. It is a truly global effort. So it's well worth just pointing out the seafood industry over in the US as well, and hopefully put some of that FUD to bed. But Chris, let's jump on over to the charts now, right, and take a look at what's going on there. So if we have a look at the VeChain to the US dollar on the daily chart, here we can see the progress that has happened with VeChain. And specifically, if I actually just pull this down to the current position, we can see we've had 3,000% growth since the crash in March 2020. That's a significant price increase on the position for VET. But by no stretch of the imagination is this over, because the current position for this is 5.8 cents as we record this video. We obviously had this recent channel here that we broke out of on the 18th of February. We had that slight pullback when we found that resistance at 5.7. And today we are rallying ahead, piercing through that resistance at 5.7, and currently we're at 5.8. Obviously, our second price target is 7 cents here, which obviously is another 22% from the current position that we're on as well. So when we did a video saying a 40% breakout, we were somewhere down in this zone here. Okay, and we were saying that basically, we're looking for this potential breakout. We saw everything lining up within this channel here. We had the breakout, but we had that resistance, which was a problem. We're still going after that same price target, but now we're only 22% away from it. So things are really heating up here on the VeChain chart. But by no stretch of the imagination, guys, is 7 cents the true value of a VET token. Chris, do you want to elaborate on what your expectations are for the VET token price?
So, for me, we can kind of get to a point where we're seeing 25 to 50 cent towards the peak of the bull run. And for me, I think that's really achievable for this project. But long term, I'm thinking more sort of around the $5 to $10 when you start to consider 5-10 years and you've got a mature market at that point. For me, this is huge. It's going to gain momentum. It's, you know, it's potentially seen as a bit of a long-term investment, and it's taken a bit of time to get the momentum, which is starting to get now. But you know, we've kind of been saying this for a long time. You know, I think I saw a comment the other day, Nick, that where somebody was like, you know, whilst you were talking about VeChain and it was like 0.5 cent, you know, I was buying it up when everybody was a bit, you know, like they're going to get into something else because they're not seeing the progression. And then actually, when you look at the chart and you look over that history, it's 3,000% gain, and for every 100,000 VeChain somebody might hold, that's $1,000 or £1,000 increase for every cent or every penny that it increases, which is massive, right?
It is absolutely huge, and it's a shame that people didn't see it or didn't believe in the project early enough. But nonetheless, that allowed so the select few individuals who have the ability to see past the FUD, the abilities, and ultimately, you know, the fantastic things that were happening there. It's hard to find a project that has this much real-world use case that's currently being implemented. I mean, Cardano is another one that you can see happening. But you know, it's something like VeChain is actually it's being used by big organizations around the world. So when you start seeing that coupled by a fantastic team who are really driving it, you kind of think, well, this definitely doesn't seem like the true value of a token. So you obviously look through the FUD and you just think, actually, based on what I know, based on all these articles that I've just pulled up, which is a real small handful of them, you know, you kind of get a bigger picture here to say, actually, this thing's big. It's not small. The tokenomics of the actual blockchain itself is very interesting as well. There's 86 billion, I think, Chris, as a maximum supply, and ultimately, businesses and organizations are encouraged to store the VET token in order to earn the V4 that's used as the gas fee, okay, for paying gas fees. So ultimately, the more businesses that are onboarded with VeChain, the more VET that gets locked up to earn the V4, and therefore the lower the circulating supply of VET. The lower the circulating supply of VET and the more businesses that want to onboard with VeChain, the higher the demand. And obviously we'll get an increase in price. So right now, ultimately, I'm seeing some fantastic opportunities here with VeChain, even at these particular levels. I still think long-term, this is an absolute beast of a project. And therefore, I think there's plenty of time to get in. Obviously, with that being said, me and Chris were in here before it was anywhere near these values. And hopefully many of you guys were as well. But for those who are just looking at it and thinking, is there still time? We still do believe this has a huge potential. But it really does depend on, you know, ultimately how long you want your investment to be. Do you want it to be, you know, ended within a couple of months? And in which case, maybe you're going to get a small gain here. If you're thinking long term, like Chris and myself, then actually, you know, thinking 5 to 10 years down the line, this thing is absolutely going to be showing you significant returns on your investment. At least that's my opinion, not financial advice. So yeah, anything else you want to leave the guys with, Chris?
No, I just think, like, do your own research. You know, we've literally scratched the surface, but that is about all in this video. And you know, that's deliberate in the respect that, you know, we want you to go do your research. We're not financial advisors, so take what we say and everybody else on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook as, you know, a pinch of salt. Go do your own research. You know, I do honestly believe that you will love what you find when you research this project, and it's still massively undervalued, even though you're a little bit later to the party than Nick and myself. So yeah, great opportunity, this one, in my opinion.
Fantastic. So guys, if you have found this useful, informative, then do go ahead and smash that like button. Chris really appreciates it. I really appreciate it. And I like to think the whole Cheeky Crypto community really appreciates it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you're not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with all the various videos, live streams and premieres that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all this said and done, we hope everyone has a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.